Good evening and welcome to All for United WFC. I'm sorry for the bit of a delay. We've all sort of had technical difficulties. As John Fry said in the comments there, his laptop keeps freezing. So when he goes up the StreamYard, so hopefully we can get that sorted for him. He could be on the show at some point. Because it'd be good to get his views. So I do apologise once again for the delay. It's just technical difficulties. And Stu Woolley, I know what you're going to say, mate. It's about time. I'm sorry, mate. That's after I said to him the other day when he joined our show very late. If you know, here's John. Hopefully, John can hear us. Can you hear us, John?
Hi, guys.
I'm not sure if you can hear. Yeah, you can hear us. Hello, John. How are you, pal? I'm not sure that's working properly, but anyway, Matt, how are you, fella?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I'm good, pal.
Yourself?
We're good, thank you, John. We're good, thank you. It's a bit of a delay between John and us, but you know, we shall try and persevere. Sorry, Matt, how are you, pal?
Yeah, not bad, pal. I was just saying, John's not the only one. I've been struggling as well.
Not too bad, yourself?
This might be a good show.
There's a slight echo, John. I think you're a bit late, but it's okay.
The comments already. This fan base needs to grow up, mature, appreciate new signings. We always appreciate new signings, but rumours, just for me are bollocks, man. Until things are signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm not a transfer person. I hate transfer speculation because
I'm not used to all this technology.
Yeah, nobody is, pal. Me and Matt we're not used to it either, buddy.
Don't help when StreamYard's down either, because that's been playing up. I couldn't even get on it. It wouldn't let me in.
Yeah. Jay Ross is a good player, just not given consistent chances. So does Jess. Got players now. Okay. Just reading through his comments because I don't want to miss out comments. Amy T's lost Spurs.
Ugly Bears, bang on.
The Americans during the summer season. Why fans against Osala? She seems to be like the perfect type of player for the. I don't know too much about her. Matt will digress more on that. Ugly Bears. Ugly Bears saying Lucky Wells. Yeah, definitely they've got absolutely hammered though. And Robert Kenton not good enough. Osala for WSL. Heard rumors she's off France though.
Good.
Could be, mate. I think I've caught up now. And then Ugly Bears, what's he saying? Internet in the UK is totally shy. I agree, mate, especially around especially around the Manchester area anyway. So Matt, we've had 5 outgoings this past week. Was any of that shocked you at all, or was it just pretty much straightforward?
I wouldn't say shocked me, no. I think I don't know about you, but I've known sort of the outgoings for probably since about April time, roughly. So in terms of shots, no. I know, everybody's been having huge meltdowns because we've lost 5. We'll wait until the other 4 or 5 go as well. There is more. So, yeah, I think it's one of them, we talked about, and me and you mentioned it a few months ago, that the squad did need a big overhaul, and we did say I said about 9, maybe 10 coming in. Which meant that 9 or 10 would inevitably go out. So shocked, no. Gutted for sort of Amy T going, and I know John's going to get into that for us. But again, it's another one I knew, so it was kind of fully expected. Just a quick one to touch on Stu's comment, the new gaffer one. Emma Sanders from the BBC tells us possibly this week, so crossing fingers that it is this week. Apparently she reckons it's done. I was told as well by somebody that used to be a manager, that's a good friend of Glenn Harris, that there was no sort of advert for it, so people couldn't, just apply. The club had actually handpicked a selection of managers they thought were suitable and interviewed them. So that's kind of that process. But yeah, we're crossing fingers, Stu, that this week it can be sorted and done. Oh, John's just gone actually. But yeah, I think, just to sort of finish off and not waffle on, yeah, the outgoings didn't surprise me really. Knew it was coming. Just hoping now, that there's not more meltdowns. Seems to have been a bit of a bad place this week in terms of fans. Some people have just gone on an absolute mad one. And I know Nat talked about this yesterday on John's show. But yeah, and like John says there, get ready for a random show. Depends when it's announced. Obviously, if it's chucked out like Wednesday, for example, then we'll have to jump on a live straight away, whether that's YouTube or Twitter. But we shall see. But like I say, I think in terms of outs, you just need to relax and let the other 4 to 5 be announced, and then go from there. We've always got to get them out of the way. I understand people are a little bit worried saying, "Oh, well, it's a big number," but to be fair, there are things happening in terms of the incomings, and I think, could be wrong, but I think there's 4 done, which means that there's still more to be done. Now, whether those 4 are Casey signings, should I say, not whether they are. So whether she'd done any more than 4, I was told 3, possibly 4. So it seems there is 4. And then new manager will potentially bring in 5, 6, 7 as well. So yeah, we shall see. But lots happening in the next month or so, I believe.
It's bound to happen anyway. About to sign players and managers coming through. Hopefully we get John Fry back on. I do believe he's having problems with either his laptop or his internet connection. I don't know, he's not the best with technology, so just bear with John, please, and hopefully we can get his thoughts.
Trying again.
Yeah, it's frozen again. John, you might want to just reboot your laptop, mate. Just reload it, shut it all down, reload it again, mate, and then come on, because we really want to hear your thoughts on Amy Turner. But I'm going to leave Amy Turner to last, so we can give John a chance to get his technology sorted.
Yeah, cool.
So, Matt, obviously, we all know you did a show on it on Tuesday about Jess Sigsworth, but for people that might have missed it, just a quick brief sort of reaction to the news that Jess Sigsworth was going. Again, I know it's not much of a surprise to yourself because you've heard in the pipeline months ago that this deal could potentially happen for her to move elsewhere. So just a brief reaction on that, mate, in case people have not seen your Tuesday night show.
If you've not seen me Tuesday night show, go and see it. That's what I will say.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Plus, you run it as well. So, but no, I think, listen, Jess was the first one announced on Monday evening. We obviously did a special to it Tuesday, and obviously this is like an ongoing theme that we're doing with the outgoings. But yeah, it's one of them really. Big fans' favourite, and I'm sure obviously we'll get onto that with Amy T as well. But I think it's one of them. I think she deserves minutes. She wanted minutes. She kept getting farmed out on the right, which for me was a bit of a joke. She deserves to play centrally. And yeah, listen, it's going to be a good signing for, we believe, Leicester. Going to be a good signing for them. So, I mean, it's one of them. It's always difficult. 3rd all-time top goal scorer, won the Golden Boot in season 1, and like I said, a fan's favourite. And we all know the work rate she gets through in a game. So, yeah, whilst it's it's disappointing, we do have to evolve, and obviously I think people need to be mindful of this. Favourites will go, original players will go, but it's all about evolving. Plugging his show like he's plugging his merch. Robert, you can plug my Instagram for me, pal. I just let the viewers plug the things. But yeah, I think, like I say, it's one of them with Jess. Like I say, it's gutting, but at the same time we've got to improve. So let's let her go and get minutes.
And on that comment about budget increase, unfortunately, Stu, we're not had a budget. I've not heard of any budget increases. So unless Matt's heard anything in the pipeline, I don't think he has either. But I'm not aware of any budget increase, pal, for the women's team because it's all pretty much hush usually. That sort of stuff. Unless Matt, has there been any news of any budget increases?
Not that I've heard. No. Typical United, innit? They won't put their hands in their pockets, but nothing as far as I've heard or concerned anyway.
Yeah, and on how much do we get for Amy Turner, I don't know, mate, because I think I saw that question being asked on Twitter. I don't think anybody knows. I think Emma Sanders, as our kid mentioned, that from the BBC, I saw her tweet, replied to a tweet saying she's going to try and find out for us. It's going to do a bit of digging, trying to find out if we can find out how much the fee was. So we don't know as at the minute. John Fry, can you hear me, pal? I'm not sure John Fry can hear me still, so I was going to ask you about Amy Turner, but I don't think you can hear me. I think Matt's done a disappearing act as well, which is very professional through the stream. Here he is. He's back clattering around for you. Worse than Anthony. Professionalism.
Somebody was at the door, lad. I had a parcel.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought he was clattering around with your tea, with your plates and that.
No, plates out the way. I'm just knocking stuff over. But nah, it's all good, mate.
That's all right then. I don't think John Fry can really hear us properly. I know he gave me a thumbs up, but I don't think he can hear me properly. Amy T, I think, would have been sort of months ago, so I presume, incorporated the budget. I presume so as well, John, to be fair. I'm just going to try one more time with John Fry. John Fry, can you hear me, pal?
I think he's froze.
Yeah, I think he's froze as well, mate. We'll keep on trying John Fry because obviously we want to get his thoughts, if we can, on Amy Turner. So we'll keep leaving Amy Turner towards the end of the show. So I do apologise for those that have tuned in to probably to hear about Amy Turner straight away. But we will get to Amy Turner by hook or by crook, hopefully with John. Hopefully, fingers crossed with John. So we'll move on to Jane Ross, my friend. Not had the greatest of times at Manchester United. Didn't do too badly, but didn't do too greatly either. It's one of those. I don't think. I'm sad to see her leave. To be fair, I think it was the right time for her to go. Whereas I was really gutted that we lost Jess. That was a different kind of emotion for me. Because I think Jess still could have given something to our team. I still could have contributed to us trying to gain Champions League football for next season in a big way. Whereas I don't think Jane Ross was quite on that level. But saying that though, is it? Am I being a bit too harsh on Jane Ross? Was she all right as sort of a backup striker, as a sparing loose sub, or am I just being a little bit too harsh on her?
No, I wouldn't say harsh. I think listen, it's not worked out, has it? She came in based on her record at City and her record at West Ham. And neither of them were actually that bad. A City record, she was top scorer. I think she got 18 goals and they won 3 trophies. That said, she had, some, well, mind you, I was saying that. I was going to say she had some decent players around her, but she probably had the same, if not better, at United. So in that respect, there's no excuse. I think, she came in with the pressure of, we got promoted and we needed that clinical forward, which she was. And she managed to score 10 goals in a poor West Ham team. So we were kind of expecting, to replicate that. But I think maybe the pressure of that has possibly played a part. I think, obviously, like I say, she was at City, but then she left and she went to West Ham. And no disrespect, it's a relegation battle. To then come to a team wanting to get Champions League that were actually top of the league, barring injuries, again, what's he saying? Plug in there for Nick Kill, Jonathan from Quad. But no, I think, like I say, I wouldn't say too harsh. I think the way we play doesn't suit Jane, and the way Man City played with Jane and the way West Ham played with Jane, they'd put a lot of balls into the box, and that's not something we do. We don't tend to get a ball down the wing, cross it in and head the ball in or tap it in. It's just not the way we play. So what you saw, and here's where I'm slightly sticking up for Jane, but it's all correct. The way she plays is sort of that predator in and around the box. And I think at times when we were lacking clinicalness, she came deep. Now, whether she was told to do that or whether she did that off her own accord, I'm not being funny, she's not very fast, is it? So it's not something, you saw Alessia, perfect example, against Brighton. Got the ball from deep, ran with it, beat defenders, scored, but she's got the pace to do that. She's strong, she's tall, she's got the power. She's done that all her life. She's used to doing that. Jane's more of a back to goal, lay it off, like I say, in and around the box, and it's just not the way we play. So I don't think that's helped. I don't think the expectation, the pressure has helped because, listen, she at the time was came in as the sort of main forward, didn't she? So, it's one of them things, but I wouldn't say harsh. I think by her own standards, she'd maybe be a little bit disappointed. that said, she's still got, 3-4 goals? So, I mean, listen, it's not great, but I suppose it's an improvement on last year, but it's just not really the levels you kind of look for from a forward. And I don't say that lightly, we don't like to sort of criticise, but I think, like I say, being honest, that's literally from what I've seen. Because like I say, I've seen Jane since she first arrived at Man City. So I think, more than fair to sort of pass that judgment. But yeah, it's not worked. And I thought she had an extra year on a contract, which if she does means wherever she rocks up next should be paying us. But I know people like Rich Laverty and Emma Sanders would be better qualified on that. But I've not had a chance to do some digging and see. But I thought she'd signed a 3-year deal. So hopefully if she has and we get money for her and it sounds like somehow we've got money for Amy T, then that's absolutely fine, perfect. And it just gives us a chance just to reset, doesn't it? Clear the decks and hopefully get a couple more forwards in.
This is a good question for Stu Woolley, actually. What was the main issue with our squad balance last season? And what do we need to do this season apart from 10 players, which you last...
Yeah, I think the balance is. Keep the comment on.
I'm sorry. I was gonna.
You've killed me there, pal.
I've killed there, yeah, pal.
Because I was going to split it in two. So I think the squad balance. I think the balance was really cover for positions, and we've always talked about needing at least 2. I don't think we got that balance. We lost sort of. Let's say we'll chuck Leah in there, for example. Leah and sometimes Hansen was injured. So in terms of 2 for every position, we were then struggling for wide players. Then Tobin got injured, which killed it completely. So that's 3 of your sort of wide players out. Obviously, we loaned out Maria, which was fine because it got the game time. And it sort of came down to, Tooney maybe being chucked out wide. I think the first couple of games at Chelsea, maybe we saw Jackie out wide right. And it was just a lot of chopping and change. I think, again, in terms of defence, we saw Maria Thoris-Dottir come in. And, she is a centre-back by trade, but she played right-back for Chelsea. And then she came in sort of a little bit of both for us. I think she played centre-back once or twice, but mainly right-back. So, again, I think it's just strength and depth, Martha was always injured a lot. Smithy was in and out, and that unsettles that. And then towards the end, sort of Hayley Ladd got a little bit of a spell out, didn't she, and a bit of a knock. But I think, in terms of that, I think the balance was unsettled due to the injuries and lack of depth. Second part of the question, what do we need apart from 10 players? I think we've obviously we need 10 players to replace the outgoings, but I think it needs to be quality now for me. There's been rumours of players coming in and some people have rightly questioned, is it going to improve? I think that's the big thing for me. It's great getting the depth, but let's get depth of quality, not just depth for the sake of it. We don't want to see numbers. I want to see quality and numbers. People are talking about, this person, that person, they're not good enough, they're not good enough. I think as long as the outgoings are replaced with people better, then it's a good start. Rebuilding is going to take time, new manager now. And you've seen it with sort of, I know we don't like talking about him, but Everton, when Willie Kirk said it's going to take him 2 or 3 seasons to shape that squad up how he wants. And I think, he'll probably slowly be getting there this season. He might want sort of the January window as well. But that's kind of where we're at, I'd say now, is that we've sort of had to, in a way, reset, improve that quality, and then kind of see where we're at. Obviously, we've kept the core, haven't we? The people that have gone apart from Amy T so far, we're not really, and obviously the Americans, which was are not really starters, to be honest. Jess, Jane, So again, I think a few more outs that may or may not, sort of disappoint people. I don't know how people, individually will stand on it. But listen, we'll see. And then, like I say, just a case of building. We've let Jess and Jane go. Now we need to be bringing in 2 players better than them to get sort of the ball rolling. But yeah, that sort of answers that for me. I don't know if you want to chuck in what you sort of feel or...
Well, before I chuck in, I just want to say how gutted we are that John Fry doesn't seem to be able to join us. Fortunately, his internet's not having it. So hopefully, if John Fry can interact in the comments like he's doing, and we'll pull up as many comments that he puts in as possible. Really, really good, because I really wanted to hear what he said about Amy T. Hopefully, Do you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sort out some way, maybe try to get a pre-record done with him with Amy Turner.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Do a video, John, and we'll upload it on Twitter.
Yeah, if you do a video, John, we'll upload it on Twitter, or if it's longer than the Twitter 2 minutes, then if you feel like you want to do a longer one, pal, let us know and we'll chuck up on YouTube. I'm making that executive decision. John Foster, I'm sure he won't mind, just because we really want to hear your thoughts, mate. So if that's something you're able to do, just get in touch with us, get in touch with John Foster, and we'll work something out, mate. Honestly, we are really gutted.
Yeah, the other thing is, if you don't want it on YouTube, John, is that you can just send 3 or 4 2-minute videos, can't you? You can sort of break it down, favourite memory, favourite goal, favourite game. And then if it means that it's 4 2-minute videos, we'll just do a thread. However John wants to do it.
We can do that,
give us a shout, John.
Yeah, because we definitely want to hear your thoughts, John. Honestly, John Fry. It's just confused which John I'm talking to here. John Fry, honestly, mate, we really want to hear your thoughts, pal. So if you're up for doing something like that, just get in touch with one of us and we'll help you sort that out, pal, definitely.
Absolutely.
I just want to go to Ugly Bear's comment here. Of the players that are left or are leaving, do we know if they were offered new contracts? I thought that was a good point, actually. Do we know that? I don't think they were they?
Let me think.
Possibly the Americans, maybe to try and get them staying, perhaps.
Well, on that though, I mean, Casey always said, didn't she? There was talks planned in summer, and there was no news. Now, whether that's a cover up for they didn't want to stay and they told her that, or she genuinely didn't get round to it and then quit, I don't know. I think with it though, because it was like a 1 year plus an extension. It depends how the extension was triggered. I think that's where the Amy T sort of money is coming from, because I went and actually, this is one I did check, and she'd signed 1 year with the option of an extension. So the option could be whether she wants, it could be triggered by games or it could be triggered by something else. Obviously, all parties do have to agree, and obviously she's possibly got the extension and then decided she wants to leave. LJ's still under contract. I think the rest, if probably, like I say, I'm pretty sure Jess will have asked for the minutes. She didn't get many last season. Didn't get many this. I think who else has gone before I give away the game and get shot for mentioning people that haven't been confirmed. I suppose that's all we're at. Obviously Jane, I'm sure is still under contract again. If you tweet Rich and Emma, I'm sure they'll tell you. She's probably asked to leave. And that's where we're at. I'm trying to think of outgoings, Palais, without giving away the others. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. I think pretty much, some will have asked for minutes, and obviously one's out of contract. The club have just said, listen, we don't want to extend. And that's kind of that.
I left this question on from Stu Woolley because I think this is a decent question as well. We'll get some really good questions tonight. He said, one last question. Are we able to attract the right players in the women's game, or are we attractive enough of a proposition to top women players? That's a very good question, that one, to be fair, Stu, to be honest with you, mate. And with the new manager coming in also as well, it's like what's happened with Casey. I do think it's maybe sort of stifle our attraction a little bit. Maybe the bigger names are probably looking at saying, well, I'll give it a year or two, see where United are in a year or two, to see how stable they are. Because at the minute, everything from the outside looks a little bit of a mess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, Matt, at all.
I mean, yeah, like you said, great question. I think I've always said, and maybe this is me being biased, but I've always said the name alone should be an attractive proposition. The fact that you are coming playing for that club in a club of that size should be enough. However, where the women's game differs is that it's a short career. Money does talk, and I know people say, oh, it shouldn't be about money, but listen, the women's contracts, they're not a lot a year. They probably earn, I think the average last season was sort of, I think it was 18 to 22 grand, and I'm talking maybe lower there, like your West Hams, your Bristols. I think even with ours, I think the top earners will probably be on 30, 40, 45 grand a year. So I think it's difficult, and I can understand, I know of 2 players that turned us down for Champions League and sort of the cost of missing out on Champions League. And I think, like you say, looking from the outside, I think just the way sort of Casey talked about why she left and the aggro we've had with training facilities, it doesn't look good from the outside. and all the sort of stuff going on with the owners, again, doesn't paint a great picture. However, like I say, it's still Man United. It's still a fresh club. Listen, it's season 4, isn't it, now, coming up for season 3 or 2.5 really in the WSL. We're still building, we're still learning. We're still pushing that top 3. You know, we finished a point and a bit of goal difference behind Arsenal with an unfit squad. And, you know, it's funny because end of the season, all the Arsenal fans were laughing, but I'm thinking, well, hang on a sec. Your fully fit squad finished just above our half-crocked squad. So it's like, you know, laugh as much as they want. But I still believe, you know, for me, I still think it's a good enough proposition, a good enough club. Listen, every club has the problems. It does need to sort the training, and it does need funds to back new manager now coming in. But I think, you know, slowly we will get there. And again, it's a process. Like I say, you know, there's been a lot of meltdowns this week. And I get it from some people that, you know, may not know too much. But like I said earlier, there are things happening in terms of incomings. So, yeah, I think, you know, we should be able to attract the right players. I think the trouble is with no Champions League, it's going to come down to money. So whether we offer extra cash, you know, for example, Bunny Shaw's just gone to Man City. She specifically said, you know, after meeting with United, I want Champions League. And it didn't happen, so we lose out. You know, Ellen White, before she went to Man City, was coming to Man United, didn't offer her the wages. Again, you know, it's down to 1 or 2. It's either wages or it's Champions League. But I'm still, to sort of round up, you know, still confident that we can attract some good players.
Jonathan Ball, do we know who the right players are? Since Casey said she did a lot of the original scouting, and he wants to know also who does the scouting at the minute, who's doing the scouting at the minute. I think a lot of these signings that are coming are original Casey Stoney signings. I believe that Casey was the one that was working some of these signings before she left, and it's off her list, I believe. As opposed to scouting at this very moment in time. I don't know, but I don't know if Matt has a clearer idea. But we know women's games going on at the minute. There's not going to be no news for a scout, but I'm assuming.
I mean, in terms of the scouting, it's more of a team. It's not. Yes, Casey did it, but she wasn't alone. You know, I mean, you were with me in Scotland. There was Casey, there was Ian Wilcock, the goalkeeping coach. I think there was Glenn Harris there, and someone else. There was at least 4. Now. I believe, you know, sort of obviously John Murphy's overseeing things now with the general manager. And I would like to think that Ian and Martin, the assistant, have probably been doing bits. Again, it's more in the women's game because there's not always specific scouts and clubs can't always afford it. The manager does do it, but it's usually a team. And sometimes you might think, or you might see the general manager, you know, doing a bit of scouting, you know, heads of recruitment, analysts. It all depends because it's quite data driven as well. Like we have an analyst and you'll probably see him at the back of the stands with the video camera doing bits as well. And, you know, they do that not just for our team, but in terms of scouting, and they can look back and they can say, well, actually, you know, this player causes issues here and this and that. And, you know, something I've always talked about was that Jackie Groningen, before she signed, was scouted sort of 6 to 12 months prior. You know, we were looking at her as soon as we sort of set up and got halfway through the championship about January time, knowing we were going up to WSL, that in 5-6 months time, which we did in that summer, you know, we were getting there. And recruitment's always done early. That's the way Casey always did it. You know, like I say, she'd be scouting 4, 5, 6 months in advance to bring them players in. And I would fully expect it still. Obviously, like I say, John and I think he's called Steve, the general manager. Those two have been sort of driving the managerial interviews and processes. So I would think it's the team effort for me now, especially with no manager. But that said, you know, obviously new manager that will be coming in could have had an input as well. You know, that new manager could have been sorted for a couple of weeks. We genuinely don't know. And then they could have been scouting out as well. So it's one of them, you know, new manager might have had a list as well that they've been sort of putting together. But like I say, we genuinely don't know. All I know is that club handpicked individuals to interview. And then, hopefully, like I say, we'll get there this week, maybe next.
I think, Stu, what is a good one there about the club having a huge scouting network, but I think that scouting network was a bit of a mess under the previous couple of managers, I think. And I know Ollie's been trying to sort it out. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard anyway. So, but he's got a point there. United have a huge scouting network for the men's side. surely some of them could be used to,
There is spot on, but there's literally no specific role. I mean, there should be, and he's spot on with what it says, but there is no specific role that is entitled first team scout, and I don't know why. But he's spot on. We've got analysts, we've got physio, we've got nutritionist. Is it performance? What L Turner does, what she calls herself, first team performance management. I can't remember the official tags now, but no scouts, and it is spot on. The men will have them all over. They'll have them for academy level. They'll have them for under 16s, 15s. They'll have them for abroad. They'll have them based in England. It's literally a whole network frame. So, we see new players coming into the men's under 23s. Some have been involved in the first team this year. Again, that are scouted. And yet we can't even do it for the first team of the women, but we can do it lower down. We saw with under 18s and 16s at United, you hear of these names, don't you, coming through. Again, been scouted, but there's nothing on our side, which is bizarre in a way, because it shouldn't be an issue, shouldn't come down to finance again, and it has doing. And it means that kind of the manager takes on the role of pretty much everything at the minute. So it's one of them things. It needs to improve, and I think it's going to be a slow process, but yeah, we should slowly get there.
John Fry's come up with an interesting player. It could be right, though. July the 1st, I think it is when Chevrolet's sponsorship deal ends with Manchester United. That's probably why. And I think, what day is July the 1st? Is it Wednesday? So
let me just check the calendar. It's behind me. Thursday.
It's Thursday. So we've been hearing rumours of around sort of next week time. So if it could be around next week, it could be right. It could be, first of July, it's around that sort of, point of the week, where United could maybe announce something, but we'll see. Thank you, Stu, for joining us, pal. I know you have to shoot off, you've got family, but thank you, mate, as always, and I'll see you tomorrow night and Uncut, buddy. But some great points for Stuart Woody, by the way. I know we've took a bit of a tangent as usual.
Okay.
Again, but it's good. I love the questions. So I'm really doing some questions tonight. What I was going to say, but I'll leave Amy Turner to last now. I think,
okay,
because she's been with us the longest out the three that we've got to still talk about. We're going to go on to the American duo. I call them the American duo. Kristen Press and Tobin Heath. Are you disappointed to see him go, Matt, or was you always? We always knew this was going to be a short-term sort of deal. But still, nonetheless, I thought there was part of me earlier. I think I said it on last week's show. Wouldn't it be amazing if they turned round and this is United's big news that they've got him to sign again for another season, or for another 6 months. But unfortunately, it's not happened, mate. Is it a huge backward step? Is it a huge void to fill for United now, given the quality these two players possess?
I mean, but I wouldn't use the words backward step. I think, listen, the thing is, we got them last summer, and I was absolutely, delighted. They were down for a 12-month loan, so that's the reason why, for me, it's not a backward step. We knew full well it was a 12-month loan. Now, the thing what threw it was, I think, around January, February time, everyone was like, yeah, it's guaranteed to stay until December, because the NWSL's got a little bit cocked up like everything else. And things are changing and there's little gaps. They didn't want to spend, I think it was like 12, 18 months without playing. And they don't want to go to, is it Louisville they're contracted to? Might be wrong with that.
Possibly,
they're contracted somewhere anyway. And they don't want to play for them, which is fair enough. But that kind of leaves them in a predicament until about December time. So whether they go elsewhere in Europe, I don't know. But I wouldn't say backward step. I think the thing for me was everybody got the hopes up because some people were saying it was a possibility. I never read that it was nailed on. Some people just said it was possible. Wait, listen, anything's possible. So it was. So not a backward step. Big hole to fill, I would say, for Tobin more than Kristen. I think just personal thoughts. Tobin was better out of the two. She brought a little bit more. Kristen was obviously with Shield around New Year. Little bit of up and down. The form towards the sort of the end of the season, last 3 or 4 games was okay. It was good. I think starting at Old Trafford and kind of continuing, it was all right. But it's one of them, it's a loan. And at the end of the day, all loan players have to go back unless you turn them permanent. And that was never going to happen. You know, they wanted to keep fit. They wanted to be involved in the American Olympic team, as sort of John Fry's referring to there. You know, they wanted to be winning things. Sadly, they didn't get to win anything with us, but, you know, they still, nonetheless, they came over, they got the experience, they improved, they improved the team, the attitude, the mentality. They brought something off the pitch as well as on it. So, you know, we can't look at it as a failure, and certainly not for me, like I say, a backward step. I think it was good and it was right. And it's just sad for me that we've never, as fans, got to be in the ground and watch them. You know, I think there was a couple that maybe seeing Tobin at Reading. It was at December time when fans were allowed in that sort of sneaked down there and claimed they were home fans. But no, I'm just gutted don't get to sort of, like I say, meet the fans and experience the atmosphere. But, you know, it's football, isn't it? And we never say never in football. It might be that after the Olympics and, you know, it might be something that we could possibly look to do. They might turn around and say, well, actually, you know, we can't sort something in America. We're not too keen on going somewhere else in Europe. Is there any chance we can come back September to December? Then, you know, we might see that. Am I expecting it though? No. I think I'd be shocked if they came back. Delighted if they did, but I think shocked. So yeah, I've kind of just got to move on, really, haven't we? Thank them for their efforts. I think, you know, I've got some great memories. You know, I tweeted out when it was officially announced, you know, for me, that Tobin goal against Man City, I think it just pips the Bristol one as my favourite. And just, like I say, just the buzz they brought, you know, and the mentality, obviously, you know, boosted the profile in America a little bit more as well. You know, there's lots of people we now speak to regularly that say, well, I'm a United women's fan now just because of them two. So I'm hoping they stick around, you know, with us and still support the team despite losing the Americans. But yeah, I think that's all really we can say without sort of going into a bigger sort of, you know, analysis of it. But what's your thoughts on them two? Because I know you'll probably say pretty similar.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was buzzing when it was announced that they was coming. You know, I thought, fuck, are we dreaming? You know, I was dreaming. You know, I thought, what a masterstroke from Casey Stoney. It's a little bit in my mind, the back of my mind. Had Casey stayed, man, I reckon they would have stayed another, possibly another 6 months. But listen, we can only speculate on that. But for me, it was just a pleasure to. Unfortunately, I've only been able to watch him on a TV screen or via a stream in a United shirt. I've not been able to see him live, but it's been an absolute pleasure to watch him play for Manchester United, to wear the famous red shirt on. Tobin Heath especially, she was absolutely amazing. Kristen, she had illnesses. She had a couple of injuries herself. You know, took a little bit of time, a little bit longer to settle in. But we started to get there towards the end of the season.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It's really, really improving. It's just a shame. I really wanted to see them, just to see with my own eyes in the flesh playing for Manchester United. I think every fan would have done that. I am slightly disappointed though, but every player that sort of left said a thank you near enough. They have not said anything yet. Unless they're busy. I know they're busy with the American national team, aren't they? So hopefully maybe they'll come out and say something. Just a little thank you, you know.
To be fair though, did Jane say something or have I missed that?
I wouldn't know, mate, to be fair. I can't remember the top of my head. I know Amy did.
Yeah, I know Amy.
I know Jess did.
Jess has. But I just didn't recall seeing anything. Like I said, I might have missed it. There's that much.
I might have missed it as well, mate, to be fair. But yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Jane, I mean, like I say, could be wrong. Somebody in the comments will probably correct us in a minute. But I've not seen, like you say, the Americans, I know, like you say, busy in America. So
so I'm just hoping they just say a little thank you, just for the fans that have supported, you know, supported them and loved them.
Jane put a post on Instagram. So
there you are. There you go. There you go. So just back to the quickly on that point. I just hope they do thank. You know, I'm not really bothered if they don't thank us, but I'm more of the fans that have been really, really behind, that really, really loved them, that really supported them. I think of Natalie, that when she went and got a Christian Press top from the Old Trafford Megastore at the start of the season, she was buzzing. She has is it Tobin Heath little FIFA card on the back of her phone?
Yeah, she does,
You know, people like for Natalie that puts in all the time and all the passion. You know, it'd be nice to just get a little thank you. You know, from them. I'm sure they will, but I think it's more to do with the American squad at the minute. They're all probably concentrating on that, and I'm sure once they're finished with the American national side, they'll come and come out and say something. I'm pretty sure they will. But
sorry, I just put that on. I think
I thought I was about to say, did I just press the button without knowing?
No, it was me. Sorry.
Do you want to answer that then, Matt? Sorry, mate. While we're on that,
I think facilities contributing, possibly. It's a good point. Obviously, it contributed to Casey leaving, and I think I'm sure. In fact, I'm 100% on this. Kristen did come out not long after Casey resigned and did say, there needs to be sort of equality, and we're still behind in terms of things like facilities and getting sort of the treatment or the respect that the players deserve. And she did. I remember now. She came out and said women's football is still behind on that, and I agree. And could it have possibly pushed their sort of certainty to leave and think, well, actually, we'll try look elsewhere? More than likely, like I say, obviously we don't know what's going on in people's heads, but it does make you wonder, and it's a great comment, obviously, because it did tip Casey over, and you just think, those three between the Americans and Casey was sort of that same mentality, weren't the elite has to win, has to, be brilliant, striving for perfection, and winners. And I think, the three of them, like I say, cut from the same cloth. So possibly, Tobin obviously got her injury, then had a bit of a setback. Would she have maybe had a setback had we had proper facilities, proper rehab, proper pitches? Maybe not, and who knows? We might have, because I think, wasn't she due, didn't they say she was due back April time? And then obviously after that, she had a setback and she missed sort of the rest of the season and we didn't see her. So, that could have literally tipped it. She might have thought, well, hang on, I'm in my 30s now. I've got a bit of a setback. I don't want to have a career cut short because of some shite that our owners can't sort out. So, yeah, possibly it's certainly a thing that could have been part of the reason why. But like I say, who knows? Again, they may come back, they may not. I'm still thinking they won't be, but if we get surprised and they do, then happy days.
I'll have this comment out from Ugly Bear because I'm not having that though, mate. Casey throwing up toys at the problem. Listen, things have moved on from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, mate.
Yeah.
You just have to look at what Manchester City are doing with their Chelsea, Man City, with Leicester
Reading.
City, Arsenal, Reading. They've all improved their training facilities. They've all got world class. We're getting left behind. You don't have to look at the state of Old Trafford to see we're getting left behind, mate. Big time. And I think Chris Wilder left Sheffield United as well. One of the reasons why he had a massive falling out with their chairman was he got promised upgraded training facilities, and their training facilities does hark back to the 70s and 80s. It's that bloody bad. So we need to make sure we're giving back into the managers. Listen, Casey wouldn't have thrown. The thing is, what Casey, she wouldn't have thrown the toys at the pram for nothing. She's not like that. We know her.
It wasn't just the facilities, though. That was part of it. She did say the budget and broken promises. Yeah. Training was one thing, but the budget was another thing as well. And obviously missing out on transfer targets, again, back to budget. So whilst facilities was one thing, and she did say that she did all, it is important to remember that she did say the budget and broken promises as well. So that'll be everything. That'll be direction of the club, say budgets, maybe bringing in extra staff. I know we talked before really with Stu about scouting. It'd be a whole host of things, but I definitely wouldn't just be blaming it on facilities, as crap as they are. Just looking here, Jonathan Ball obviously says Kristen did mention it in an interview. I thought she did whilst with the national team. So that'll, yeah.
Yeah, but no disrespect, but that's with the national team, but not to Manchester United fans. That's what I was trying to get at. I still get it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to get this one from Karen. Manager-wise, would you prefer someone less well established with something to prove, or somebody that has achieved elsewhere?
I think for me, achieved elsewhere. I think we took a gamble. It worked out. It was obviously Casey's first job in 2018, barring a little bit with England. But being a coach, an assistant coach, isn't the same as like a head coach or a manager. But I think for me now, and I've talked about this before, we're going into season 4. We missed out on Champions League. We were poor in the Conti Cup and we were poor in the FA Cup. Now, for me, I did say last year, we've got to this year, we've got to win a trophy. And I'm still sticking by that, So I think with that in mind, it does need somebody established. I don't think we can be gambling on maybe somebody that's only been coaching, say, 2-3 years. I think somebody, people mentioned that Gerard Prichot, he was supposed to go to somewhere in France. I think it was PSG, and it broke down. So, if we can get him, obviously, proved himself, established. Maria Pry, I think she was at Sevilla prior to Levante, worked with a low budget. She could tick sort of both bits, establish, yes. Maybe something to prove because she's coming to a new league. But listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing, Doesn't literally have to prove herself in terms of, her qualities. It's more, can she work with a low budget and get us to where she got Levante in a different league? Who knows? But yeah, I think for me, it's got to be right, and it's got to be, for me now, real quality, because we can't have a revolving door. We can't in 2 years' time be sitting here saying, Jesus, the second manager, we didn't get back them, or, oh, well, they weren't good enough, we've fallen off and now we've sacked them. Do you know what I mean? We need the stability now. So for me personally, like I say, proven, that's achieved something, however you define achievement, whether that's trophies, whether that's done well with, coaching young players and bringing them through, then fair enough. But I would like to see somebody, with good quality, rather than sort of maybe an up and coming or a newbie for me.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think I 100% agree with you, pal. Maria Price, her name keeps coming up, propping up.
Yeah.
I suppose we shall see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get our answer next week at some point. Hopefully, but we shall see. We shall see. I know time's running out a little bit, so I want to get on to Amy Turner. This one, I kind of knew it was going to happen anyway, with the other half already agreed to move over to America and what have you, played in America already. So kind of knew this was going to happen. It does break up the iconic Turner and Turner partnership at the back. Some may say maybe for the best, some may say maybe not. I love the partnership of Turner and Turner. Honestly, I know. Last season, towards the back end, it sort of went a bit sour, but I think the whole team was lacking then as well. You can't just single out the two centre halves. It was the whole team. I just hope new manager isn't Phil Neville. You watch, mate. He's struggling at.
Don't even mention it,
mate. No. He's struggling big time into Miami. He's lost 5 in a row, I think. Listen, 4 or 5 in a row.
It was bad enough watching the Lionesses, and it's bad enough watching England under Southgate, man. Don't heap any more. I can't take any more misery, pal. In terms of football, I can't. I don't want Phil. I'm with Jonathan. Both Jonathan Ball, Karen. I'm with John Fry. I think this one does hurt more than the others. And again,
I agree.
Something I've kind of been sitting on for a couple of months, but it still hurts. And I think when you see it in black and white, you kind of, it hits home more. Like, knowing it is one thing, but when you see it actually printed there and it's sinking in, it does hurt. And I think it hurts because Amy, I know Natalie uses the phrase "one of us," and I think spot on. I think not only was she a quality player, but she was very down to earth. She got it. She got sort of fans, if they were frustrated, she got it. If they're absolutely buzzing, she got it. You could literally see Amy in the local Tesco and she'd still stop for a chat for you. Do you know what I mean? She was literally one of those people, like, I remember at some away games, the first Charlton game that got postponed. And I remember, I don't know who I was with, and it was quite a walk. I was walking up and she was carrying some stuff. And she just literally, she wasn't even bothered about the game. The first thing she said was she felt sorry for us fans that travelled and had a wasted journey, because obviously we leave like crack of dawn, don't we? And things like that, she fully gets, like, people, fans, and really good with sort of fans after games, young and older people as well, big fans' favourite, no nonsense defender. And I think somebody I'd seen prior to United was she'd had a tough time with injuries, really bad time. And I think it's been great to see her over 3 years pretty much get a decent run. I think she finished on 65 appearances for us, roughly. I think, might have read that wrong. But she got a decent amount of appearances in 3 years and pretty much stayed injury-free for most of it. But like you said, I think people shouldn't be blaming her for what happened in the season just finished. It was collective. But I think for me, she probably outperformed Millie this season. A couple of them, both of them made a couple of mistakes. But I think for me, Amy T was probably the more solid defender this season. And that just goes to show, because it's usually been sort of Millie. But yeah, I mean, just gutting really. She'd always put a body on the line. She was a leader for me. I'd have had her as captain. and that's another debate for another show. But I think big influence on the pitch, big influence off the pitch, very relatable character. And it just goes to show, I think today she's been liking all the fans' tweets. I noticed on mine as well. She'd go around. She'd been liking tweets. She put things on Instagram. 67. So there you go. Considering somebody that spent 3 years injured prior to signing for us, she's done very, very well there. In 3 seasons to make that many appearances. And yeah, we'll go down rightly so as a United legend as well as an original 21 member.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. One thing I did love about Amy though is she never shirked a challenge. She always went in full-blooded. Didn't matter if she came off second best, came off a little bit hurt. We've seen a picture with her with a cut face, everything, she was like our Vidic in a way. The Turner partnership, Millie was our Rio, Amy was our Vidic. That partnership just worked. It shouldn't have worked really in a way because Millie was more of a CDM at Bristol. We didn't think that centre half partnership would last as long as it did, but it did. It outlasted the Manis test. It outlasted the Maria Thoristotti TA. Sorry, I can't say a second name. I'm still struggling now. I do apologise, people.
Just call her Thor.
Thor, yeah. So, Thor couldn't even break that partnership up. But now, and it's right. I agree with all the comments. It is. This one does hurt the most, I think. Or does get me a bit emotional in the heart there the most. Because she's everything a Manchester United player is. And Amy's one of those players that's good, hard-working, honest player, that will give her absolute everything, and that's what we needed. And I agree with you, though, about the captaincy. I'd have had her as captain straight away because she's captain material. But that's another argument for another day. Unfortunately, that's now come on past now. What I do like though is that Millie Turner's post as well. On Twitter and on her Instagram story to Amy about their partnership over the 3 seasons, how iconic it was, and it was an iconic partnership, it is right up there with I put them right up there with the men's iconic defensive partnerships.
Absolutely.
Of your Bruce Pallister, Stan Johnson, Rio Vidic, Jones Smalling. No, I'm joking about Jones Smalling, by the way. No one kill me in the comments, please. That was supposed to be. But here we go. Amy T wasn't the most skillful defender, but she always gave 110% on and off the pitch. She always put her body on the line. Can't think of any other defender in WSL who did it. And just to follow that one up, as a fellow defender, she would have been a dream to play alongside her, as you knew. No one would get past her. Absolutely, John. Absolutely. And hopefully John can go to more detail if we can get him through this video, which I'm sure he will. Him and John Foster are going to sort it out. And I think I echo every word of that. To be fair, I think she's one of the best defenders, such defenders I've seen in the women's game. I just want to get this one off for John Fry. Sorry, I don't mean to pause in what I'm trying to say. I was so upset the news came out after crying for a while. I went out and bought a new Hornby. Sorry, I need to put my readers on. Hornby Beatles Eurostar train set. We're going to try and cheer myself up, mate. Listen, if you need to talk to anyone, mate, we're always here for you, pal. We'll try our best to cheer you up. Don't feel upset on your own, pal. Come and talk to me and Matt and John and Nat. We'll always have time for you, buddy. You're a top guy. This hurts me as much as when Paul McGrath left. Paul McGrath was a decent centre half and all. For those of you old enough to remember Paul McGrath. But Matt, we have got over an hour, so I better end soon. But any final thoughts on the Amy T?
I mean, nothing we haven't already said. I tweeted about my favourite goal being that Everton one. Anyone that saw that, she got the ball about 10 yards in our own half, beat 3 players, and we all thought, here we go, cross it to Tooney, tapping. She didn't. She levered it straight across goal, bottom corner. Honestly, the seat, we were at Southport, weren't we? The scenes when that went in. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if she meant it, because to be fair to her, she just carried on. And, rightly so, but I think, that sticks out. Obviously her performances, leader, physical, good in the air, warrior, everything that everybody knows. But I think for me, that one does, you know, she didn't get many goals to us, but I think that Everton one has to be my favourite. And again, you know, it's an iconic partnership. And I think that's what makes it hard. You know, like you said, you talked about Millie putting posts up, and I think there was one that Amy put in reply to it. She quoted her, and that was just as difficult to read. And it's hard, you know. We get, and this is more common in the women's game. You get more of an emotional attachment because you actually get to speak to them after games, and they do interact on Twitter, and they genuinely care. And, you know, I can fully sort of resonate with John Fry. You know, my favourite left in season 1. And I was just like, I mean, maybe I should have gone out and bought myself something because he's done that. Maybe I should have just got myself a rum or something like that, or a whiskey. But no, hand on heart, I genuinely was gutted with that in season 1. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. But it's one of them, you know, that there are, and I hate saying this, but there are a few more originals from that 21 lined up to leave. So it does make it difficult, but you know, we move on. We wish her all the best, and listen, hopefully she can come and watch when because their season's different. You know, if she's back over here, which I'm sure she will, visiting family.
Absolutely.
Let's get her. You know, she tweeted about and put on Instagram about she couldn't say goodbye. Let's get her back at LSV half time. You know, she can do a little speech. We can clap and sing and catch up with her. And yeah, be great. You know, if we can do that. But yeah, I think, like I say, that one hurts the most. At the minute, it's difficult, and I can sympathise, you know, with everybody that has sort of, you know, struggled with that, because she's a huge fan favourite, and same for Jess. But I think, for me personally, I think Amy hurts just a little bit more than Jess, so to speak. But yeah,
I wish her all the best at Orlando Pride. At least she's going there with another United legend, playing for the men's side, Nanny, who absolutely scored a belter last night against Phil Neville's into Miami. So if anyone's seen it, it's on Twitter. But I think we should end there then, pal, because we have gone well over an hour again. Hopefully we should get some incomings coming soon as well, just to cheer us up a little bit.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I know this has been a bit of a painful one for some people, like John. John, don't be sorry as well for the podcast, mate. Listen, we all have technical difficulties, mate. It happens. We'll sort your video out with John Foster. Sort your video out, mate, and we'll look after you. And I said, and I mean what I said, John Fry. If you never need to speak to anybody, come and speak to myself, Matt. Jump in the DMs. You know, even if you want to talk over the phone, we'll give you a call, mate. You know, you're not in this alone, buddy. Just thought I'd get that out there and say that.
Absolutely.
Matt's schedule going up tomorrow, because tomorrow is Sunday.
Yeah, so obviously we always start off with a weekly roundup. So all the links, just in case people have missed shows, because I know everybody's busy. That'll go up first, and then sort of evening time schedule will go up, and we will let you know what's coming up throughout the week. But yeah, thanks. I'm just going to wrap my bit now and then let you. But thanks for everyone, as always, you know, for tuning in. Like you know, really enjoyed the comments again tonight. A couple of new faces as well. Great to see. And yeah, we'll be back throughout the week.
Yeah, as I said, we'll be back throughout the week. I'm back on Monday. Matt's back on Tuesday. And so we'll see you then. And if anybody wants to see my ugly mush again, I am on the All for United men's channel tomorrow at 12 o'clock doing the Pride of All Europe podcast. So be nice to see some of your faces there if you want to see my ugly mug again on your screen. So thank you very much, everybody, and we shall see you next week.
Lovely. See you later.